I posted a reel. I make fun of a certain very new rising
yeah.
far-right party. I'm just making fun of their slogan. I posted it on my Instagram. The next day, it got reposted on X and Threads. I got like millions and millions of views. They were so mad. It was like hundreds and hundreds of comments. I was like, oh, there's a good one. No. Death threat.
Hey there, and thank you for tuning in. We're excited to bring you another great conversation today. If you like the show and want to support us, please hit the subscribe button so we can keep bringing you great content week after week. And if you're feeling extra generous, give this video a like and share your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you so much. And now, let's get into it. Welcome to Unpacking Japan. I'm Toby, and today we are sitting in a studio with Yurié. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're a comedian actress.
Yes.
You were born here in Japan, and then you moved to the United States, where you spent quite a bit of time, and then you came back now doing stand-up comedy at the Tokyo Comedy Club.
Tokyo Comedy Bar. Yeah, a lot of nights. Yeah, Tokyo Comedy Bar. Other places too, but...
And many more projects. But before we dive into stand-up comedy in Japan and everything you're doing, maybe go back a little bit at the beginning. And you grew up here in Japan,
yes.
But you decided to leave when you were 18 to go to the United States.
Yeah, wow, you know a lot.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research.
I don't have a Wikipedia.
No, but you have a pretty extensive bio on your website.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Oh, someone checks my website.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's good.
What motivated you to kind of leave your hometown of Wakayama City to kind of go explore the United States?
Yeah. So my father is American. He's from New York. My mother is Japanese. Hafu, right? And I went to normal public school. I didn't go to international school in Japan, in Wakayama, where I'm from. And it was just always the plan. College, the States was already decided. My father, he's in education, and he's not a huge fan of certain ways the Japanese education system can be very much about just memorizing and, cramming in data in your head and not a lot of innovative thought and critical thinking. And he wanted me to experience that type of education where, we write essays and stuff like that.
Was this kind of the education you got in Wakayama when you grew up? This memorizing at a regular school? Because you went to public school.
Yeah,
you didn't go to like an international school while here in Japan.
Oh, yeah. It was wild. Like, I remember for history class, there was the Renaissance section, learning about the Renaissance period. And there was just like a list of famous artworks and the artist who made them. And the teacher was like, all right, here's like the important 20 and just memorize it, But we never saw
any of those.
Yeah, there's no picture. And I was like, so I went home and I was like memorizing. I was like, Dad, what's this? What's this? And he was like, didn't you see it? And I was like, no, they didn't show us it. We just have to memorize this list. He was like so angry,
So after a while, I was like, no, let's try something else and go to the United States.
Yeah. I didn't want to go to college, though. My plan was to be a pop star.
Oh, so you had that interest of going on stage already growing up.
Yeah. I was very uncomfortable being hafu, like, since I was little. And it's kind of a weird subject to talk about because, I want to be careful. There's many different kinds of hafu, so I don't want to generalize all experiences. I'm half white, so there's that type of experience. And I know it's like urayamashi, like a lot of Japanese people like, ina, like, oh, I wish I was hafu. Like they say stuff like that. But I never felt like what they were saying made sense because to me, all I felt was, oh, they're not accepting me. Because I was always still like othered,
Yeah.
So I never felt quite included. I understood that there was something about me that people thought was cool, but I had nothing to do with it, So I think I started performing in high school. I was in a band, like bando, vokaru. So I was like, oh, I want to be like a pop star. I was very comfortable on stage because I was like, okay, now everyone's looking at me. Being hafu, people look at you anyway, in Wakayama at least. So, but I didn't like that attention because I had nothing to do with that attention. But being on stage, getting attention, I liked it because I was like, oh, I deserve this attention. I'm doing something, I'm putting on a show. So I think that made me feel more in control of the attention I was getting anyway. So yeah, I wanted to be a pop star. So I didn't want to go to college. I barely wanted to finish high school, but my parents are, great parents. And they were like, bitch, no, you're going to college. So yeah, I went to school in the States after.
And you kind of stuck with that line of like wanting to be a pop star. Let's study acting. Let's study something that's related to stage.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to do something related to the stage. And I think I was very attracted to like a city environment. I wasn't really interested in like the typical
Hmm.
campus. I think if I was gonna go to college, I wanted to be like in a city. And I chose Boston because it's like a small city. So it felt like a good like gateway city. And I chose a school that's like was described as very like artsy and lots of performing arts people go there and a lot of like weirdos from high school go there, stuff like that. It was very LGBTQ, very gay. I'm not gay, unfortunately, but the school had a slogan, gay by May, like everyone's gonna turn gay
Hmm.
by May. I'm still waiting for that May, but it was a interesting transition. And I applied, yeah, to the musical theater department because I was like, okay, that's like music and being on
Hmm.
stage. But there was something with the application process, like it was already very difficult applying to American colleges from Japan,
Oh,
like
really?
having, yeah, because I had to get my high school to
No,
provide me with, yeah, the
to get the
transcripts.
the great equivalency and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
make everything translated so that the American university can also understand this is legit and not
Yeah,
just.
yeah, exactly. And they'd never done that before. So it was already very difficult trying to translate that. And then on top of the application, the normal like paper application, like taking the SATs and all that, I had to audition. And for musical theater, I had to audition like singing, acting, and dancing. And something with my schedule, like I couldn't make all three
Hmm.
auditions. So I was like, okay, acting, I just have to do an acting audition. So, all right, let's just do the acting department.
What did you submit?
I had to go. Yeah,
Oh,
I had to go
like
to
a
Boston.
live audition, not just
Yeah.
filming yourself and saying, okay.
No, no. Maybe they do that now, but this was in 2008, 2007. So, yeah, they didn't have that system. And I had to fly to Boston and I missed my high school graduation because I was doing this audition and I never acted before. So I didn't know. They were like, you need to prepare a monologue. And I didn't know what that was,
So
and
all like just you wing it.
yeah, yeah. I just had like a strong feeling. I tend to get like strong feelings about stuff. So I just had like a strong feeling like, okay, I think this is what I should do. So I just like got a monologue from a play and memorized it and practiced in my room and I never showed anyone. I just did it for the admissions person.
You growing up in Wakayama, you mentioned people were always looking at you as the half a kid,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and that was kind of your identity or part of it.
Yeah.
When you moved to the States, suddenly you're in a very open, artsy college with people from all kinds of backgrounds, very international as well, I imagine.
Mhm, mhm.
What was that experience kind of changing? You went to the city, you went abroad, and suddenly you're in a completely different environment than what you grew up in.
Yeah, it took a very long time for me to get comfortable as myself. I think I didn't know what myself was
Hmm.
really, or I was questioning it a lot because when I went to the States, I just I just wanted to fit in. So I had this image like, okay, I never quite fit in Japan. Maybe if I go to America, I will finally fit in.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to be seen as like an American girl. So when people would ask me like where I'm from, I didn't really like saying Japan because I didn't want to be labeled
Oh,
as like that Japanese girl. So yeah, I was just kind of going with the flow. I didn't really have any opinions on anything. I was very comfortable in like acting class. I think because I didn't have a lot of foundation with like how I was comfortable being myself, playing characters helped because I was like, okay, I can like not be myself. I can like be this person and be
Hmm.
that person. So I, had a great time in acting class. But yeah, I was very like intimidated by the American environment, because it was a huge shock going from like public Japanese high school
I can imagine.
to this like very liberal American college. The dorms were co-ed, like the same floor. There were like guys and girls and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So there was lots of things I wasn't used to.
You mentioned a few times you kind of started feeling at ease acting, which is something you hadn't done before,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
you eventually kind of continue your career first in acting as well.
Mhm,
You went
mhm.
to play in a few TV shows.
Yeah.
I think Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
You did an episode. How did you kind of get into these? Was this through just a kind of a call for entries and you applied to be casted, or through an agency? How did you decide to go into TV?
Yeah, so I had a manager in New York City. So after college from Boston, I moved to New York City. I was like, become a famous
Go to
actress.
Broadway.
Yeah, I think I was more interested. I wouldn't turn down Broadway, but I think I was more interested in like film and TV. And I got a manager pretty quickly. And so for those like speaking roles, I know those were small roles, like I was only on like one episode, but you have to audition and you can't really apply. You have to be a part of an agency
Oh.
that has access to the roles announced through different casting offices. And it happens very fast. TV moves very fast, especially those small roles. Like they're shooting this episode next week and they need to find these, 4 roles or whatever. So,
That can be available the following week. And
mhm.
okay.
And supposedly like hundreds and hundreds of actors are submitted by different managers and agents. Only like a small fraction get an audition. So just getting an audition was supposed to be like a huge win. Like you got an audition, even if you don't get this role, now at least this casting office, they know you.
Oh.
So hopefully they'll call you again for something else.
Eventually, you got quite a few roles. Was this something that you then thought about kind of doing more full time, like as a career? That, oh, I'm going to be an actress in TV shows or in movies and take it
Yeah.
there.
So the way I was taught in the New York City hustling actor culture, because I had a lot of, friends who were doing the same thing. Because I continued studying acting even after college.
Hmm.
I enrolled in an acting school, like I had a teacher. So I was always surrounded by actors. And the way they teach you is you're supposed to climb up the ladder. Like, first you get the co-star role, and the co-star role is like I think it's like under 5 lines, and then hopefully you get a guest star role. Guest star role is like it's still only one episode, but it's like the main story of that episode. For example, if it's Law and Order, you said you watched
Yeah. Yeah.
NCIS. Like if it's like that case of that
So
week
you're the bad person, for example, or
or the
the.
victim
I
or
see.
something like that. It's still just one episode, but it's like the main meat of that episode. So that's guest star. And then there's series regular. Series regular is like you're not, sorry, no, recurring. You're not a series regular. You're not on every episode, but your character appears every few
Hmm.
episodes, stuff like that. So that was like the tier of the roles.
So actually, when you see these names coming up in the credits, it's not
Mhm.
just oh, this person is recurring in a show, but there's like a specific categorization behind it. So if it says recurring, it's a certain amount of episodes. If it says co-star, it's just this. It's there are categories.
Yeah, because it's
Oh,
under SAG-AFTRA. It's industry terms that determine like your pay grade, basically.
what was the one that you enjoyed the most?
I really liked Gotham. I did just one episode of Gotham, but it was like a 5-day shoot.
Oh,
Yeah, just because. Have you seen it?
I've seen some of the trailers. I haven't seen the actual show.
Okay, so but it's like a
Yeah.
Batman world, right? So uh it's a very detailed, extravagant set. And some days we shot like in a studio and the set was crazy, super cool. And some days we shot outside. And it's like modern, New York City, but little details they've dressed to look like Gotham,
Hmm.
so it's cool how they have to block off like certain parts of the road. And that happens when you live in New York City. Like you're walking around and you see the trucks and you know what they are. You're like, oh, they're shooting something around the corner.
This is rarely something you see in Japan. I think they will not block off an entire like city block just to
I
film
guess
a.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But they would do that in New York, and it was always really exciting to see. And I had like a really cool costume. They made me look, uh, like a bad character. That's what I was. So that was fun.
So it seemed like you were kind of little by little getting all those roles
Little
and
by little.
going from co-star to guest star,
I never made it to guest
never
star.
guest
I
star.
actually I just did co-stars. Yeah.
But what was the point when you decided, no, actually, I don't want to do this. I want to go back to Japan.
So I never said that. I basically was doing that, just hustling as an actor, auditioning and waitressing, bartending, just surviving. And the pandemic happened,
Hmm.
and I was just kind of not doing anything because I was supposed to shoot something for HBO. Once again, it was a small role, but it was a good job. And that got canceled. There was no more shoot. And the restaurant I was working at closed. So I wasn't really doing anything. And I kind of had this, like, time to think, I think, as a lot of people did during that time. And I decided to, okay, let me just take advantage of this downtime and, visit my family because that seems like a good thing to do. And I'm lucky that I had that option to come back to Japan. I never planned on living in Japan ever.
Also, the idea was you go to university here overseas and you make a career there as
Yeah,
well.
I was not planning on coming back.
And then with COVID, it's like, okay, let's go. But something got you to stay.
Yes. So I went viral on TikTok and I was like, ooh, this is fun because for the first time, I wasn't waiting for someone to pick me for a role. Because
Hmm.
when you're an actor, a lot of the times you're just waiting. Obviously, there are things you can do. Like you can always work on your craft and get new
Apply to more
headshots.
gigs.
Yeah,
And
sure, sure. A bunch of stuff you can do. But at the end of the day, someone has to like choose you. And that was around the time like TikTok was becoming a thing, 2020, 2021. And I was back in Japan. I spent like a couple of months in Wakayama with my family. I got very bored, respectfully. And I was like, I never tried Tokyo. Like I've only like visited for like a couple of days. So I was like, I want to like see what's going on. So I wasn't doing anything. So and there was a lot of rooms available at that time because
yes.
of COVID. The borders were closed. So I like rented a very cheap room for like 2 months or something. And yeah, I was honestly like having an existential crisis. Like, it's like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I don't know what to do. And one day I remember I was so bummed. I was basically fixing my English resume, my acting resume to fit the Japanese format. Because I had some people that I had met in the States. I had a show that I did, a TV show in New York that was a Japanese cast and crew. The
Okay.
production was Japanese called Hodo Buzz. And I knew people through Hodo Buzz that were now active in Tokyo. So I hit, some of them up and like my senpai person was like helping me with my English resume. He was like, okay, well, we have to reformat it for the Japanese profile. And I was like,
Handwritten or.
no, you type it out, but you have to like, there's so many rules. Like you need your headshot, but then you need your like, this is what I look like now selfie too. Like you need like both, not just your Asha, but you
Mhm.
need your like right now. And like certain screenshots of like projects you've done is like completely new, different from how we did it in New York. So I don't know. I was just kind of feeling like, oh, this is never gonna work. Like, I don't fit in. And I was at Cafe Veloce. Do they have that in Osaka?
They do, yeah. I
Okay.
think there's one down the street actually.
Okay. I was at Cafe Veloce, filled with melancholy, editing my resume. And I got up to use the bathroom and I was gonna like take all my stuff. But then I was like, oh, wait, I don't have to do that.
I'm in
It's
Japan.
Japan. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. I bet my friends would get a kick out of this. So I made like a 15-second TikTok of like, look at me leaving my stuff here in Japan. And like I put my phone down and like the next day it was at like 3 million views or something like that. And it's like a high. You get like adrenaline. You're like, oh, 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 more. Let me make more. So I started just making videos like that. Like, check this out in Japan. It's very like aru aru now, I
Hmm.
feel like.
But at the time,
That was
especially
the
because,
first one. No, I'm joking.
especially because nobody could come to Japan,
Yeah.
that was something quite unique.
Yeah, I wish I combed my hair. Like this was like a very viral video and
I'll
my
have to
hair
go
was
watch
like,
that.
no. I think I'm wearing a mask too.
So
But
at the
yeah.
time, you weren't doing any social media at all. This was just a
No.
video you did for fun for your friends
Yeah,
back in the
yeah, for
States.
like my, 20 friends who followed me. And yeah, that blew up and I got all these followers and I was like, "Oh shit, I got to keep going. I got to keep going." So I just kept making like Japan content. It was so stressful every day thinking about Japan content. Just my parents, my poor family, they're like, "Oh," and they're texting me, sending me line like, "This is Japan, why don't you make like a Tanabata video or like why don't you make like a seasonal konbini snack video?" I'm like, I don't know, like this isn't really like speaking to my soul anymore. And I didn't want to get stuck on the Japan niche, because I'm not like into tourism or anything like that. So I was trying to like take advantage of the following that I had, you know, stumbled into, thankfully, and try to shift the category. But I was very intimidated by all these do's and don'ts on TikTok, right? Like you're not supposed
Yeah.
to change your niche. Like if you change your niche, like the algorithm gods will punish you. And
Yeah.
like I was like, so I started making comedy skits, but still like the topic of Japan. So I was like, okay, this way I can like showcase my like acting chops or whatever. And still it'll be like maybe I can trick the algorithm or something. So and that worked. People like that. And I started just making like a lot of like, yeah, comedy skits on TikTok. And eventually someone or a couple people were like, have you ever tried stand-up comedy? Like,
Oh, so you hadn't really thought about that up until that point. You just made the videos for fun, and that was kind of your Tokyo experience.
mhm.
And suddenly someone is like, "Oh, do you want to do stand up?"
Yeah, I got some requests from followers, and particularly, I wasn't really like paying attention. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's a amazing comedian in Tokyo. Her name is Yuki Nives.
Hmm.
She reached out to me, and she was like, "Hi, like I'm a comedian in Tokyo," and I was like, "They have stand up comedy in Japan?" Like I didn't even know.
I didn't know until kind of you and also Richardo was making some skits together with you,
Uh huh.
kind
Uh
of
huh.
showed up on my feed, and my wife introduced me to your content. And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
thank
there's
you.
a stand up comedy. It's not that popular in Japan,
No,
or it
we're
wasn't,
we're we're
especially."
forcing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not like a official it's not mainstream yet, but there is a growing interest and, I'm here in Osaka now for the weekend and yeah, people come to my shows. They, like very grateful.
Well,
They
they
like
booked out. We have a few colleagues that have been trying to get tickets
sold
and they
out.
couldn't get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Well, they can message me. See, I can see what I
Okay.
can do, of course. But yeah.
But back then, you suddenly get the request and you're surprised. Oh, there's stand-up comedy in Japan. So
Mhm.
you get curious and you go and meet up with.
Yeah, same with like the acting school. I had like a strong
Mhm.
feeling. So I was like, oh, I'm curious. And I really wanted to meet Yuki because I wanted to meet this Japanese woman who does English stand up comedy. I thought that was so cool, so badass. So we met up at an open mic and I wasn't planning to participate. I just wanted to watch. But I didn't realize that the format was like you don't sign up ahead of time. This particular open mic, people were just like raising their hand in the audience, and the MC was just like calling people up, and you had like 3-4 minutes. So I had this like adrenaline rush, and I turned to her and I was like, "Do you think I should go up?" She was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I just like raised my hand. I didn't have any jokes, but I had like a funny story. So I like told the story.
What was it?
I used to work at a kabakura,
Mhm.
and to be honest, like the story is not that funny. It's kind of depressing, but I thought it was funny. It was about like a customer that kind of acted out of hand, and he kind of like, well, he assaulted me. He like attacked me with his body. He like got on top of me. And I kept telling him to please stop, and he wouldn't. And then I caught his phone screen light up, and he was holding his like daughter, you know? And I was like, and I was literally like fighting his body weight off of me. And I saw a picture of him and his daughter. It's a sweet, innocent picture. And I was like, is that your daughter? And he was like, yeah, he was like angry attacking me, but like, it's like some kind of mental illness. Anyway, I was like, I have a father like you, like who loves me, like just as you love your daughter, I have a father who loves me. How do you think he feels right now, my dad? And so he like stopped. And until that point, he kept calling me like, because his daughter is also hafu. And he was like, I never want my daughter to become a hafu like you. Like, I want my daughter to be like a better hafu. And then he like attacked me, right? And then, but after I said that about my dad, he like stopped and he was like, actually, めっちゃいい子だね, みたいな. Like, I do want my daughter to be like you. And I was like, so it took like another man's existence to make you realize, oh, I shouldn't attack this girl. so,
It's
so
crazy.
that was the story. So yeah, again, I thought it was kind of funny because I was like, these guys, like, the only time they're like, oh, this woman's life matters is like, oh, there's a guy in the picture. Like, there's a dad. Oh, okay, let me, I'm a dad. Like, let me stop.
So what was that experience for you to tell that story on stage, suddenly at an open mic, and you have other people in front of you looking and waiting for a punchline, waiting for something to come?
My heart was beating. I was so nervous. And I don't get nervous like before acting or stuff like that, but this was something new. So yeah, I was so nervous. And I should mention, this open mic was in Japanese. So that was like double weird. I'd never done stand-up comedy before, and it was in Japanese. It was like a very niche event.
Yeah.
I think it was in Asakusa or something. Yeah.
And that kind of made you, oh, I should do more of this. This was enough to kind of get you hooked on stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I was like, this is cool. Cause I love acting. I think I like to express something. And something that I experienced through TikTok was, and I wasn't expecting, when I started making like comedy skits and like hafu aru aru, like experience about being hafu and stuff like that. I got so many messages from other, not just hafu girls, but like kind of like mixed girls from everywhere being like, thank you so much for like making this. Like, I feel the same way. Like, you made me laugh. Like, I understand, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I never thought like, that would happen. So acting is cool, but again, you have to be chosen and you have to, there's like all this production, set design, costume, camera, everything. But like stand up, you just need a microphone, really, So I was like, that's cool. It's very minimal. And it's a different way to express myself.
How is the scene in Japan? You said you're here in Osaka as well to go play on stage a couple of nights, but otherwise you're mostly in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And it's growing.
Yeah.
So what does it look like in terms of how many people are doing it, or how many clubs are there where people can go and enjoy some stand-up comedy?
I'm so glad you asked. So basically, there's only one official stand-up comedy club in Tokyo. It's called Tokyo Comedy Bar. It's in Shibuya. Very easy to get to. That's the only official venue only for stand-up comedy. But there are other locations popping up that like they have stand-up comedy on these nights kind of thing, so it's like a bar or like a live house, different types of places that's not the sole purpose, but like, they have it on Thursdays or these days, so it's like growing. And yeah, like I get asked to do stand-up comedy in like the weirdest places sometimes because it's not a thing in Japan yet. So people don't really know, like, they're like, oh, you can do it anywhere, right? And it's not true. Like, I know I just said like all you need is a microphone, but you kind of need a little more stuff to be calculated. Like, well, you need a stage, or at least a space that is supposed to be a stage. It helps to have the audience dark because people laugh more when they're in the dark.
Because they feel less shy
Yes.
about just releasing.
Yes, especially Japanese people. And it helps when the ceilings are lower. And it never works when it's like nagara miru. Like I was asked to like, they're like, can you do stand-up comedy? We're doing like a bazaar, like a flea market, like
Mhm.
bazaar.
Oh, just outside on the street.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna be like one of the politicians no one pays attention to. I was like, that doesn't work. Like people can't like just walk by. Like it's not background music. You have to sit down. And also it doesn't work to do surprise comedy. Like I've been a part of open mics where like it was like at a bar and the people attending the bar, they didn't know that there was going to be stand-up comedy that night. That's not good. Cuz also like it's rude. If you want to go to have a drink and you just want to talk to your friend and now you have to like pay attention to some, you want to keep talking to your friend. So you have to have an environment where people are like ready to come and watch and like laugh. So there's stuff like that, but
One thing that's interesting, which you also mentioned is challenging, is you do this both in English and Japanese.
yes.
And humor is very different depending on the cultural context,
Yeah.
especially stand-up comedy, I guess. From what I've seen, mostly American stand-up comedy, you play off a lot of the audience, right? You kind of
Yeah.
ask questions and then you take that as
Crowd
a
work.
reference.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine is much more difficult in Japan, maybe, but maybe I'm mistaken. So how do you approach when you do like a show in English or in Japanese?
My God, I'm terrible at Japanese crowd work. It always ends horribly, but I'm trying to still keep doing it because I think that's the only way you can get better. Um, I think it's best not to overthink it when you do crowd work. What's great about stand-up comedy is you kind of have to merge with the audience and you have to kind of adjust to that audience. Like you think a joke is going to go one way, but it doesn't.
Hmm.
People laugh at a part that you didn't know was funny and they don't laugh at the part you thought was the funniest. So it's important to like keep trying it. And the ittaika, like becoming one with the audience is cool. And when things aren't going well, you just got to like reconnect with the audience. And it's cool that you can do that. You can't really do that, for example, in like a play, like a theater
Yeah.
play. Like let's say you're doing a scene and the scene really isn't going
Hmm.
well. You can't change it. You have to,
You have to continue sticking to the lines.
Yeah.
But how do you manage that when you're on stage and the crowd doesn't react to what you thought they might do? Like if I were in that situation, I think I would just kind of completely freeze and start breaking out a sweat and just be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is horrible. Get me out of here.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you have to, if you want to get through the end of your show, you have to continue. You have to pick up on something.
Yeah.
How do you adapt to that?
Well, please tell me when you find out. No, I'm joking. So basically, the most important thing I think for me is I have to be having fun.
Mhm.
If I'm watching myself and criticizing myself as I'm performing, it's no fun. Because as an audience member, when I see comedians that I like, even if I don't quite get the jokes, like if they're just like having a great time and just being a good entertainer and I don't know, it's just way more, it's more captivating. Uh, when you are captivating, people become captivated. So you just have to like own it, have a good time. And yeah, sometimes when like a joke doesn't land, I'll be like, all right, fuck you guys, and then that'll get a laugh, but not always.
What kind of stories or jokes do you feel like land well, for example, in with the Japanese crowd and don't with a foreign crowd, and vice versa?
Ah, interesting. Well, I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate like political topics or, socially conscious topics in my Japanese material because that's something that isn't seen in mainstream like
Mhm.
manzai. And I love Japanese owarai. I love manzai. I try to go like at least once a month to go
Oh, really?
watch. Yeah, cuz it's very fun for me and also I'm very like impressed by their like uh craft. There's lots of like so much with timing and rhythm and like the chemistry between like the two and it's just like and it's like designed to make you laugh. Like no matter what, like it's just funny, you know? And if you ask me what it's about, I'm like, it was about completely nothing, but it was so funny. I had a great time. You get to escape your normal life. Like, and there's like, I think really high value in that, you know? Um, and in stand up, like, sure, that can be a part of it too. But I think as a genre, people are expecting a little bit more like depth
Hmm.
and little spicy topics that aren't really allowed or normalized on
So
Japanese
social
TV.
issues, political issues.
Yeah, like, you know, I could talk about my sex life or, yeah, how I feel about politics. Yeah, social issues like, you know, racism, like stuff like that. Like, I'm not uncomfortable talking about it in English, but when I talk about it in Japanese, like it's like very challenging. I just want to be careful because I think for a lot of, well, I don't think, I know for a lot of my Japanese fans, I am their first experience with stand-up comedy.
Hmm.
They tell me that all the time at my shows, like hajimete no stand-up comedy, you know. And I don't want to like scare anyone away from the whole genre because right now we're trying to kind of pioneer this genre and like introduce it. You know, a lot of comedians are doing it all over Japan, like not just like hafu or foreigners, but like Japanese comedians are doing it too, doing stand-up comedy. So, you know, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to like spread and like stand-up comedy or moriagetai, you know, in Japan. So I don't want to like, let's say one, you know, risky joke completely turn someone off forever from the whole genre. So I feel this little like a little chotto burden of like I have to like carefully find a balance of like making it spicy just enough so that people are like feeling fulfilled with the new genre, like, oh, this is what I wanted, you know?
Couldn't it also have the opposite effect of by approaching those topics through comedy, through new genre of comedy, to
Hmm.
kind of breaking some barriers and opening conversations?
Hmm.
Is that an experience you've had where you made a joke about something politically related or about your sex life,
Hmm.
and those taboos that people don't usually talk about, then after during the show, or maybe when you meet with the crowd later that night, you get to have conversations about the topic and
Yeah, I think it's always best to not be afraid. So I try to like stay true to what I want to say. But it's just always like a learning experience because I like just like last week, I posted a reel of a Japanese joke that I did. And I make fun of a certain very new rising
oh
far
yeah,
right party.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I barely take a jab. It's like a light jab at, you know, I don't even say what I think what they're doing is good or bad,
Hmm.
although it's probably clear. But, you know, I'm just making fun of their slogan, you
Yes.
know, which is whatever. It's like low hanging fruit. What am I going to do? So I posted it on my Instagram and then like the next day it got reposted on X and
Oh,
Threads and
and then
like
all of Japan saw it.
yeah, I got like millions and millions of views. It was like Cafe Veloce all over again, but very different. And yeah, they were so mad. And
Really?
oh my gosh. I mean like I didn't read every it was like hundreds and hundreds of comments, but like I I was like, oh, there's a good one. No, 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 no. Death threat, death threat. Oh, death
Wow.
threat. Oh, there's a good one. Death threat, death threat. Oh, she's like a new hafu とかめっちゃ言われた. Like they were
New half.
calling me like a uh so hafu and this new hafu is like a lady boy trans type of situation. But took that as a compliment because I mean, 綺麗だから. You know? So I was like, oh, thank you. But yeah, just a bunch of nonsense.
How do you deal with that when you suddenly have a video like this that explodes on a topic that is a bit sensitive? And well, there are obviously an equal amount or more people that enjoyed that joke,
Hmm.
and then there are some people that kind of go as far as making death threats because
Ah, yeah.
you took a jab at a political slogan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes me kind of sad for them because, these people who comment stuff like that, it's always the same. Like, they don't have their profile picture,
Mm.
it's always like some kind of, it's not their face. And obviously, I think you know about like the Japanese, like, online culture. It's just like so nasty
Quite
sometimes.
harsh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, oh my God. Like, so I've experienced that before with something else. So I already know about it. And it's just kind of, and so I feel sorry for them. And then also I feel like, okay, I mean, that was a really lukewarm joke. Like, I want to make more jokes. I don't want to get canceled before I even start. You know what I mean? I'm just getting warmed up. So, but it's,
Did
I
you
don't know.
notice a limit with the kind of jokes you've attempted so far that, okay, if you go beyond this line in
Hmm.
terms of joking about certain topics or in a certain way about a topic, this just like is a no-no?
Yeah. So there's a line, and you want to stay on funny. The other side of the line is not funny. So when you're not funny, the line is like, yeah, very close. Like, um, obviously, not everything is for everyone. So I'm not trying to like please everyone, never. But um, I also want to be mindful of what people are used to,
Mhm.
and yeah, groom them.
Little by
And
little, get
yeah,
them
yeah,
used to stand-up
yeah,
comedy.
yeah, yeah,
You wanted to become a pop star. Now you're a comedy star here in Japan with
yeah,
millions of views.
yeah.
And suddenly you talk about this responsibility of representing a genre that is new to Japan, wanting to develop it, wanting to get people into this without burning this. How do
Hmm.
you kind of balance this? You as a person now suddenly representing a little bit this publicly through social media and the many shows you attend. Is this something that you mentioned being mindful, but is it something you think about every day and that you kind of
Yeah, I'm so lucky. Like, I can't believe, people, all these people, like, they come to see me, and and it's cool, like, experiencing the different fan culture in like the English world and the Japanese world. Cuz like, English speaking fans, super cool. But like, if they see me on the street, they're like, yo, like, I fuck with you or whatever. That's,
oh
like,
my
I
god,
love your comedy. And like, that's cool. I love that. But like, a Japanese fan will be like, "Ouen shitemasu," like,
I'm
and
cheering
it,
for you.
yeah, and it like hits different, because, and they are really dedicated, I feel like, because there's like the whole culture of like oshikatsu.
Mhm.
And I was trying to explain to my like friends back in New York the concept of like oshi. And they're like, "What's oshi?" And it's like, "Oh, this is when you like really, for example, really love an idol and you are actively rooting for that idol." And they're like, "Oh, like a fan." I was like,
Mm.
"No, it's not really like a fan. It's more like like, you're really like committed to the activity of, because katsu is
Yeah.
activity. So it's like a discipline almost to like support this person, And so I feel like it's my discipline to like keep getting on stage and keep, even when I doubt myself, I feel like there's no time for that. Like, all these people don't doubt me. So like, I can get up, you know. Um, so yeah, I guess that was the way. What was the question? Like, how do I balance?
Yeah, that pressure of kind of representing this new genre and having so many eyes on you now. You are in a way
Yeah,
a
yeah.
pop star, and people are looking up to you. People are cheering for you. People are kind of recognizing you over
Oh no,
the.
I look up to them. Like, well, even though the stage is higher and I'm looking down on them, but like, I think it's really cool that, like, especially Japanese people who are like taking a chance
Mhm.
with this new genre. I'm like, you guys are so cool. Like, how did you like find out about this? So yeah, I want to like make each other happy. And the English stand-up comedy is also like kind of the same thing, I think we kind of started this topic about how, oh, it must be so different, like jokes in English, jokes in Japanese. It's it is and it isn't. What's funny is funny. So, of course, there are like nuances
Hmm.
that feel different, but a punchline is a punchline and people will laugh if it's funny. So,
How do you come up with those? We talked about the topics you kind of enjoy talking about and
mm-mm-mm.
making jokes, but how do you come up with actual jokes or the skits? Is it something you take inspiration from your personal life, or do you spend time just writing or thinking about, okay, what could be funny and how can I tell this?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like, I try to always have like a small notebook with me
Hmm.
so that like if I think of something, I'll like quickly jot it down just so I don't forget it. Because that happens to me all the time. I'll just be sitting there in the train like, that's so funny. I'm definitely not gonna forget it later. And then later I forget it. So just start write down a few notes and then I'll set up like a separate time, like writing time, where I'll go over what I've jotted down. It's like just weird things I scribbled, a crazy person and just like, oh, okay, yeah, 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 and try to. And then once you think you have something, you have to try it on stage, and then it either works or you realize, oh no, that was just funny for me.
So you have to try your jokes for the first time on a live stage to kind of
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
must be scary too. Just like it's something you've never done or said, and you don't know how it's gonna come across.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's great to have like this community of like
Hmm.
other comedians too, where you can like, hey, what do you think of this kind of thing, and you punch each other's jokes up. Um, but I think it helps to like if you have a set, if you have time, I've been very lucky to be given these time slots, but like open and close with strong, dependable material, and then kind of experiment in the middle. Because then that way you can always like you start with a bang and end with a bang,
Hmm.
so people don't really remember the middle.
You started alongside your stand-up comedy. You continued making content, but you also started a podcast, and
Oh
you
yeah, yeah.
two shows actually, right? One where it's Tokyo Hoe Tales.
Hmm.
You talk about your life and your experiences, and
Hmm.
then the other one you talk it's in Japanese, I think.
Oh, snack
Yeah,
time.
snack
These are my
time.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was the idea there that you suddenly decided, oh, I'm gonna make branch out and also make podcast online shows kind of on a regular basis? I think every Tuesday.
Yes, thank you. So, basically, the English podcast Tokyo Hoe Tales is very new. I've only done like 4 or 5 episodes, but it's based off of my sold out monthly comedy show.
Hmm.
So Tokyo Hoe Tales is my monthly English show, and I started that last July in
So a
2024.
year ago, basically.
Yeah. And we just did Okinawa Hotel. So that was the first time I took it overseas. But yeah, so the concept of the show, the live show, not the podcast, it's a stand-up comedy show in English with the themes around like dating and relationships and stuff like that. And I kind of made it Tokyo Hotels the podcast separately to just explore the possibility of an English podcast because I was getting asked if I have one or if I'm
Hmm.
gonna have one. To be honest, I'm still finding like I'm not quite sure what this podcast should be about. So I'm kind of discovering that still. So thank you for sticking around. And Snack Time is my Japanese podcast that I do with Saimu Shota, who's also a comedian.
Hmm.
And that is like we read letters or messages people send us with some kind of a problem. Usually it's dating related.
Also, people now ask you for dating advice too.
Yeah. So Shota and I read them and like solve them. Solve them. 勝手に解決する。
That's
Yeah.
interesting. You start from making jokes about people's or your own sex life,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
then people turn to you for advice.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I encourage them to. Well, it's called snack time because we shoot it at a bar
Hmm.
and it's like a snack and I'm the mama and Shota is like my regular. So, when you go to a snack, you want to talk to the mama with your problems and I
What
listen.
are the kind of problems people approach you with?
Um, a lot are like, oh, I'm in my 30s. I don't know if I'm ready to settle down,
Hmm.
but I feel like I should. Or, oh, I'm cheating on my wife. don't know what to do about this. I feel really guilty. Stuff like that. And
For,
they all use, fake names, so
Mhm.
it's like anonymous. And I appreciate every letter because it's like so honest. So we read them very carefully and yeah.
Seems like that's a topic that resonates internationally, regardless of the cultural context.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes yeah, recently there was this guy or no, okay, yeah, the guy was saying that he was in his 30s and he's like a playboy and, he his problem was that all of his friends of the same age have already gotten married and have families. So he has no one to talk to about his like
Mhm.
promiscuous life. He feels like left out.
So he sends you a message, and it's like,
Yeah, I was like, you can just tell us, we can listen.
On your English podcast,
Mm.
you recently had an episode with your mother,
Yeah.
and she said she was the funny one in the family.
She is.
There's one thing that she said that I really liked was about you can just choose your channel,
Yeah.
right? You choose if you want to live your life on the fun channel, on the sad channel, and this
Yeah.
is something you choose.
Yeah, yeah.
Was kind of comedy and humor always part of your household when you grew up, where your mom was making jokes? She said she was always very strict and very majime, but
She is Majime, but her character is just very funny.
Mhm.
I think she's naturally funny just from how she is. So yeah, sometimes it's intentional. Also, her job is to kind of make people laugh because she runs a boutique
Oh,
and it's just her. And it's kind of like a high-end boutique and people come to shop, but she has like her clients. So she's almost kind of their like personal shopper. So they come and like they don't just like come in and buy and leave. They like try on clothes, she helps them and and then they sit down, oh, have some tea, have some cake, and they talk for a couple hours. So it's like a whole afternoon for these ladies. So my mom is always like listening to them. So she's like a snack mama, like boutique mama, basically. Well, people call her mama, but yeah. So she's used to like listening to people and relating to them and making them laugh. So maybe I learned a little bit from her.
is this something you then also decided to do? Just switch on the fun channel and just kind of let's go down this path of making people laugh and just
Yeah, because I think by default I'm very negative. Like I always assume the worst. I'm always very overwhelmed by like the state of the world and like watching the news and it's very easy for me to like feel the doom. And the way my mother says is like I have the privilege. I think the clarity or the distinction we have to make with choosing the channel is like I am privileged enough to choose the fun channel. Because I'm not gonna sit here and say that like everyone should just choose the fun
Mhm.
channel. Obviously, we can't say that to certain people. So I'm privileged enough to choose the fun channel, so I should.
You also talked on that podcast about like the body image. Now that you're on stage all the time, people looking at you,
Oh
and that
yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
suddenly a lot of comments as well about that.
Yes,
You should
yes,
look like this. You should look like that. And it
yes.
kind of brings us back to how you grew up in Wakayama, and people kind of first of all just seeing you as a hafu. So
Mm-hmm.
physically you are different. You're the half Japanese, half white.
Mm-hmm.
How does that kind of come back into now that you're on stage in stand-up comedy?
I'm gonna be very honest. It's quite hard for me. It's something I'm actively working on because I don't want to be, expressing myself in like a strong way
Hmm.
and presenting myself physically that doesn't match that strength. Because yeah, there is like a pressure that I feel in Japan specifically to be as a woman small as possible. And when videos like the Sanseito video that, got all those comments like, yeah, I got the death threats, and but I also got like very body shaming like comments. And I mean, that's just like the easiest way to like insult a woman. And it's not really interesting or new. So like my mind knows that that's not true what they say, but I would rather get death threats.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're not gonna actually kill me, I don't think. But yeah. So it's like and I want to, like feel comfortable in my body and like own my body and um I don't want to like now that people are looking at me, like I want to represent like, health. I don't want to be promoting like n- eh, unhealthy body standards and beauty
Hmm.
standards. So, I work out, like I do strength training and like, I want to feel strong and like all that. But yeah, it's very
It's difficult. It hurts too.
in Asia, yeah, there's this pressure to be like very, very small, not just in Japan, I think. I
Hmm.
think like in South Korea too, which is crazy because like Asia is so big. So you think like, in such a big continent, like you would be like compared to the place like small, but
Mm.
no, you have to be smaller.
Even smaller.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is this something then you mentioned you're getting a lot of messages from other half, not only half Japanese, but
Hmm.
people that are mixed from all over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
world?
yeah.
Something that you kind of get to exchange about with this community of people that kind of have dealt with these images of being mixed race, of being.
I just like when I get those messages, I say thank you, and I don't really like engage much further
Hmm.
because, I don't want to be like invasive, but yeah, I think it's just been very eye-opening for me that like, oh, okay. When I talk about something very personal, it can actually be very universal.
Mm.
um, which is something my acting teacher taught me many years ago. Like when you're playing a character, I think it was like a Russian style, a Stanislavski style of like acting school, but the Russians say like take it personally,
Hmm.
like the script.
So, like, you are the character.
Yeah, it's so there's no way you can be every single character,
Hmm.
but the what the character is going through has to be true for you. So it's like living truthfully under imaginary
Hmm.
circumstances. So it's all imaginary, but you have a connection to something, and you're taking it personally. And I think that's like an example of like something personal becoming like universal because we're all human. So when someone is being vulnerable, it speaks to you, even
Yeah.
if you have nothing to do with that person.
The more personal, the more people can relate, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is ironic because it's like you're turning inward, but it
Mm.
turns outward as well.
So where are you at now in your career? This is something that started through
Accident.
A,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
TikTok at the Cafe Veloce
Hmm.
a few years ago that went viral. That turned you to making some content, to stand-up comedy, to continuing to make content but focusing on the comedic aspect. And now
Hmm.
you're here today and
Yeah.
kind of helping to develop stand-up comedy in Japan.
Yeah.
Where do you see it now, and where would you like to take this in the next few years?
I'm very much like again, I trust my gut feeling and I kind of like go with the flow. I'm not a good like business strategist, so I would love if someone could tell me what I should do. I know what I want to do. I want to continue to be on stage. I want to grow as a comedian and in both languages. I want to travel and do comedy. But I've never not wanted to act. And this year I did Romeo and Juliet in
Oh,
Tokyo.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was a theater production.
Like big stage?
Yeah, big stage. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Sheepdog Theater Company is
Were you Juliet?
Tokyo based. No, I was Mercutio. Yeah, which is typically a male role, but I was very excited to play her. She was a girl in this production. But yeah, I still want to act, and it would be great to develop a TV series where I would love to play a character that's like loosely based on myself, but
Hmm.
not myself. And I want it to be like a dark comedy. So I would love like to be a part of like the creative team and star in a series that is like a 30-minute episodic, about doing comedy in Japan.
Like a sitcom a little bit, or?
More like dark comedy, not sitcom. It'll be, not multicam, not like
Mm-hmm.
laugh track, but shows like the show on HBO Max called I May Destroy You. It's created by
No.
Michaela Cole. She did Chewing Gum, but she's one of my, like, I look up to her very
Mm-hmm.
much as like an artist. She wrote and like starred in her own TV show. Um, Other artists I really look up to are like Jordan Peele. Have you seen Barry on HBO Max?
That I think rings a bell. But
Yeah.
I don't have HBO Max. I may have seen it somewhere else. I don't know where it plays, but
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, I think you next. They're not sponsoring us. We shouldn't be name dropping. So the it doesn't matter. The most important thing is like these shows I'm naming. If they have anything in common, it's like comedy, but like kind of dark.
so you
So
have that idea in mind now. You need to find the people to work with you on this kind
yeah,
of big project.
yeah.
And stage Romeo and Juliet. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. That was in March. We already did
Yeah.
it, but yeah, that was very cool.
Are there more projects like this that are already in the works that people can see you in soon, like theater productions or?
No theater currently planned, but I have some sketches coming out, like comedy sketches that I acted in and, was a part of like the writing team. Those will be like online releases. So,
A lot of really exciting projects coming up.
yeah.
Before we wrap up, I read on your website that you can do really good Japanese
Britney
Britney
Spears.
Spears. So I'm very curious what that sounds like.
Me too. Okay.
I put you on a spot there, but it was written so that, oh, that's
Oh
a fun
crap.
fact.
Yeah, I put that on my resume like 10 years ago and like I forget that it's still there. Oh, hi, 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 hi. That's
Okay,
enough for today.
enough for today. People can go and see. Maybe you'll put a clip out soon.
I actually did it on TikTok like last year. So if you scroll
right.
back, you can see a whole verse.
Yurié, thank you so much for coming, sharing your
Thank
story.
you.
Is there something you would have liked to talk about today that maybe I didn't ask, or something you would like to share with our audience that we didn't get to? We covered quite a few things, but
Yes. Okay. Quickly. So the live show Tokyo Hoe Tales. People might recognize that name because it has a very provocative poster. I'm like sitting on letters with my legs crossed. I look naked and I'm holding a computer. I want to explain that is a direct reference to Sex and the City. And the reason I used Sex and the City as a inspiration for the poster is I was getting demand to do a monthly English show, but I didn't want to do like any old show. I was like, let's make it about dating specifically, because at the time I was receiving a lot of feedback from my Japanese audience, girls specifically, that were like, oh, thank you so much for talking about this, like for talking about relationships and like, being a girl and all that stuff. Like, we don't see that often. So thank you so much for on our behalf or whatever. Just like, and I was like, okay, like, I don't mind being the one to embarrass myself. So, and in the show, Sex and the City, Carrie Bradshaw, she writes the newspaper column, Sex and the City, talking about, her and her friend's sex life. So I wanted to do like the Tokyo 2024, 2025 version where like I am kind of sharing these stories that we all go through and to find ways to laugh about it. So that's why I created the show. People think it's like a sex show. It's not. Although, shimoneta welcome, story, and anything is welcome, but it's a demure, you know, it's not as raunchy as people might think from the poster.
but it does seem like this poster had quite an effect on people
Yeah,
because
because it always sells out.
yeah, it always
Yeah.
sells out, and people
Yeah.
ask you about it, and you bring it up now to kind of explain. So it seems
Yeah.
a lot of people are curious about where is this coming from.
Yeah. It's a comedy show with real dating stories. And there's a part of the show where audience members get on stage and share quickly a story. And then at the end, we all vote for our favorite story. And the winner takes home a prize.
Oh,
Yeah.
new price every time.
A new prize every time. Yes, yes. But it's the same theme.
Yurié, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
We'll make sure that all your links are in the description so people can come find you at your next show, ask their questions if they have more. It was a pleasure having you and kind of hearing everything and how you kind of got into stand-up comedy and what it's like here in Japan. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. This was Unpacking Japan, and we'll be back in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future conversations. And we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, here are a couple more that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you next time.